My name is John. I'm turning 45 this year. Today, I'd really like to share a story with you, a story of emotion, exhilaration, and a bit of serves you right. This story takes us back to my childhood. As a kid, I was a crybaby and slow, far from what you'd call brilliant. Indecisive, unable to make quick decisions, I was always dithering over things. For our summer vacation homework, we had to choose between growing roses or sunflowers. I'm going with sunflowers. I prefer roses. Mr. Hill, can I do both? While my classmates quickly made their choices, I couldn't decide. Sunflowers are synonymous with summer, aren't they? Sunflower seeds are Buster's favorite. My buddy, called Buster, is a Jungarian hamster. With his tiny body and beady eyes, he's absolutely adorable, like a little angel. If I managed to harvest a lot, he'd surely stuff his cheeks and munch away happily. Just imagining it brings a smile to my face. But sunflowers grow surprisingly large. We didn't have the space to grow a big sunflower at home. We do have a yard, but it's filled with my mom's vegetable garden, leaving no room for me. Maybe roses, then. I can grow roses in pots, so they don't need much space. As long as I don't forget to water them, they should grow healthy. If I place the pots in front of my house, our neighbors also can enjoy to see them. Thinking about it makes it even harder to choose. Am I just being greedy? John, you're the only one left. Rose or sunflower, which will it be? Mr. Hill asked. It's John again. Why can't you ever make up your mind quickly? Can't help it, John is just a slowpoke tortoise. The main character of a popular drama at the time was always messing up, and everyone called her the slowpoke tortoise. That phrase was quite a hit and even became a trend among us kids. Everyone, quiet down. John, you need to decide by the end of the day. Come to the staff room later to pick it up. Understood. For mischievous kids, a slowpoke turtle like me was just too tempting not to tease. Some of them would always pick on me. Hey slowpoke John, why can't you just hurry up and choose? I'll choose for you. You're getting a sunflower. Sunflower. I like sunflowers, but my yard is too small. Then go for the rose. But if I forget to water it, it'll die. What if I forget? That's your problem. Just don't forget. Let's stop bothering with slowpoke Sean and play basketball. Let's play basketball. Yeah, let's do it. My classmates ran out of the classroom, eager to play. I wanted to join in on the basketball game, but no one invited me. Being a slowpoke and I often stopped classes. Science and math were fine. Because there's only one right answer. Simple and straightforward, utterly basic. There's no need to fret. The problem is, yes, language arts. When faced with vague questions like what do you think the author was feeling at this time, I'm at a loss. How am I supposed to know what the authors felt? I've never met the authors, nor do I know their thoughts behind their writing. How can everyone else ponder the feelings of strangers and come up with answers? Suddenly it started raining, and I took shelter. The rain stopped quickly, so I started walking again. What were the feelings? Maybe they're thrilled, thinking, yes, the rain stopped, or perhaps they're disappointed, thinking, now I have to walk again. Or maybe they're just wondering why the rain stopped so suddenly. Of course, there's a context to every story. By carefully unraveling the context, one might glimpse the author's emotions. But if suddenly called upon during class, I have to respond immediately. During exams, I have to figure it out within the allotted time. That's when I give up. Anxiety overwhelms me and my thoughts can't keep up. The more I rush to answer, the more my mind spins, leaving my answer sheet blank. Alex, a classmate, is smart and wealthy, reigning as the leader of the rambunctious group. Alex seems frustrated with my slow pace. Because you can't answer quickly, you're holding up the class. Sorry, Alex. You're always like this. How can you not understand such a simple question? I know the answer, but I'm not sure if it's really correct. Oh, what are you talking about? If you know it, just answer. It's okay even if it's wrong. I hate making mistakes. If I do, everyone will laugh at me. Cut it out. Your attitude is so irritating. Look, I have exams next year. I don't have time to waste. If I fail my exams, it's your fault. Alex, despite his mischief, is bright and plans to take the entrance exam for a prestigious private middle school next year. He's intelligent, athletic, and well-liked. Sorry, Alex, but how can anyone know what the author felt unless they're the author themselves? Isn't it strange to even ask such a question? Listen, John, if it's a question, it means many people recognize its significance. Understand? Has everyone talked to the author? Man, you always nitpick. Is that why you can't score well? Is my thinking really just nitpicking? To truly understand an author's feelings, wouldn't you need to read the entire book? When asked what do you think, based on an excerpt, I have no choice but to surrender, saying, I don't know. Isn't that the normal response? John, you are really slow. Being slow and bad at studying is the worst. Alex's face, filled with disdain, seems triumphant, yet also twisted with irony. Summer vacation is paradise. I can relax without seeing Alex. But that was a big mistake. During the summer, I was sent to supplemental classes to study. I don't want to go to the classes, I protested desperately. But my mother said, John, you're always failing. If you don't work hard over the summer vacation to catch up, the second term will be tough. It's not that I don't know the answers. The exam time is just too short. Don't make excuses. You failed because you don't understand the material. No, Mom, that's not it. Besides, everyone has the same amount of exam time. If other kids can do it, why can't you do? If you don't understand, you should ask for help. If you don't work hard now, you'll struggle as an adult. It's not because I don't understand, I tell you. My words don't reach my mother. Reluctantly, I ended up attending supplemental classes where Alex was present. He was the leader there too. John, do you really think you can keep up here? I didn't want to come, but my mom. Are you treated like a slowpoke at home too? That's sad. No, it's not like that. Hey, everyone, be careful around this guy. He's slow, sluggish, and a complainer. John, just don't get in the way of our studies, okay? Yeah, I got it. Despite that, I was left behind even at the supplemental classes. This school was one of the top classes in the city, known for its fast-paced studies. The instructors spoke as fast as an express train. I couldn't keep up, as the discussion moved faster than I could digest the information. Before I knew it, the class was over. Alex, can I ask you something? I didn't understand a part from earlier. Could you explain it to me? Why should I have to teach you? I have another class now. Didn't I tell you not to drag us down? You're not just slow, you're incompetent. Change your name to incompetent, John. I'm not incompetent. Slow, sluggish, and incompetent, John. I bet you even killed your Rose, right? Behind Alex, the other students smirked. It's no use with them. They're completely on Alex's side. I don't want to go to the supplemental classes anymore. When I get home, how is it, John? Can you keep up with the studies there? Mom, I want to quit the supplemental classes. What are you saying? You're going to be a middle school student next year. You have to study hard now, or you'll fall behind. Hey, Mom, It's not that I don't understand the studies. I know the answers, but I told you not to make excuses. Have you done your homework? And you better take care of the roses or else. Mom, the roses, it bloomed beautifully, you know. Hey Mom, are you really looking at me in the flower? The summer vacation that was supposed to be fun ended up being just painful, hot, and misunderstood by everyone. After summer, fall came. A transfer student arrived in my class. This is Ryan Thompson. Ryan is good at studying, so you all might want to learn from him. I'm Ryan. Nice to meet you. Ryan, who came from the city, had a sharp and tall appearance, giving off an intellectual vibe. The girls were all abuzz and restless. In a few years, he'll surely become a top-tier handsome guy, his presence not the least bit annoying. But probably, Alex won't like him. Sure enough, during break time, Alex started to mess with Ryan. Ryan, where are you from? New York. Huh? Transferring at this time of year. Did your parents do something bad? What do you mean? Like his parents messed up and got demoted here. That's not true. My parents aren't bad people. Then what is it? My dad is taking over my grandfather's company, so we came here together. Which company? Pinecrest Construction. Pinecrest Construction, seriously? Yeah, seriously. Alex seemed to have a complex expression on his face before leaving the classroom. Alex, wait up, what's wrong? His entourage hurriedly followed him. That guy seems pretty full of himself. Is he always like that? Ryan spoke to me. Yeah, Alex is always like that. He's the smartest in this class, so everyone clings to him. Smart, huh? Jay, probably. The conversation didn't go much further. Once Alex was gone, the girls surrounded Ryan instead. It seems that the mysterious and handsome transfer student being popular isn't just a story found in movie or drama series. One day, on my way home, I stopped by my secret base. A dilapidated little shack, quietly standing in the corner of a vacant lot. Too shabby for anyone to care about, this shack was my secret haven. I love this place where I can relax and read a book without anyone disturbing me or making fun of me. On days when my mom was out working part-time, I'd kill time here. I was supposed to be at supplemental classes, but that place felt suffocating. So, I'd chill at my secret base until supplemental classes was supposed to end. Today, I borrowed an animal encyclopedia from the library. I wanted to learn more about the habitat of Jungarian hamsters, so Buster could live more comfortably. Humming to myself, I headed to the shack when I spotted a cardboard box on the vacant lot. Hearing some noise, I peeked inside and found newborn kitten meowing. Looking around, there was no sign of her mother cat. Nor was there anyone who might have abandoned her. What should I do? I already have Buster at home, so I can't take her with me. Maybe I should bring some milk from home. No, that's not right. If you're going to start something, you have to take responsibility until the end. When we got Buster, my dad gave me a stern talking to. Once you've intervened, you can't just abandon them halfway. You have to take care of them for the rest of their lives. That's what it means to own a pet, to take life into your hands, apparently. What should I do? But if I leave her here, this kitten will surely die. I decided to take the kitten to my secret base. However, I didn't know what to do next. The animal encyclopedia had information on every imaginable animal from around the world, but it didn't have a manual on how to care for kittens. What should I do? How do I take care of such small kitten? For now, I decided to go home and bring back some milk and bread. Wait here, I'll be right back. I spoke to the kitten and dashed home. When I got home, my mom was there. "John, what about supplemental classes?" "Mom, weren't you supposed to be at work today?" "I had a headache, so I took a day off. But never mind that, what about supplemental classes?" "I'm going now. I just got a bit hungry, so I came to get some bread and milk." "Are you going to eat that at supplemental classes?" "Yeah." "That's not acceptable. It's embarrassing. I'll have dinner ready for you as soon as you get back, so hurry up and go." "But..." "Hurry up. You're really slow. I wonder who you take after." Luckily, the phone rang at just the right time. While my mother was on the phone, I quietly took some milk from the fridge. I decided to give up on the bread. The kitten probably couldn't eat it anyway. I returned to the base and fed the kitten the milk. Ideally, I should use a baby bottle or a dropper, as I've seen on TV. But since I didn't have such things, I dipped my finger in the milk and let her lick it off. She must have been very hangry because she sicked on my finger vigorously. Her strength was surprisingly strong, conveying a strong will to live. "Are you all alone too? Being alone is lonely, huh? But I can't take you home." I decided to keep the kitten at my secret base. I named her Muffin. She was brown with stripes, and her big, round eyes reminded me of a female anime character. From that day on, I pretended to go to supplemental classes but actually went to see Muffin. As I took care of her, I became adept at stimulating her to pee and poop by gently tapping her with a tissue. After a few days, Muffin started to see and move around. "Muffin, don't go there, it's dangerous." Though I called out, Muffin didn't seem to understand. As I was cleaning up the mess Muffin made, she disappeared. "Muffin, where did you go? Muffin?" I turned pale and dashed out of the shack. "Where is she? Where did she go? It's dangerous for such a tiny one to be outside. I need to find her quickly." As I frantically searched, I heard a voice from behind. "John, what are you doing here?" Turning around, I saw Ryan. Ryan, have you seen a cat? A brown striped one with round eyes." "Your cat?" "Yeah, her name is Muffin." "She ran off somewhere." "It seems so." I must have had a pretty pitiful look on my face. Ryan peered at me with a worried expression. "All right, let's look for her together." "Really?" "Of course." With that, Ryan helped me search for Muffin. Winter evenings bring early nights, and the surroundings have already become completely dark. We peered into the overgrown bushes, but there was no sign of Muffin. Meow, meow. A faint cry came from somewhere. "There, John, over there, isn't that her?" It seems Muffin had crawled between some pieces of wood. Ryan carefully, gently, and slowly pulled Muffin out, making sure she didn't get hurt. "Muffin, I'm so relieved. This little one's leg is injured." "Where?" I could see something like blood on her back leg. "Maybe she cut it on the wood." "We should take her to a vet. At this hour, they should still be one open." "I can take her to a vet." "Why not?" As I hesitated to answer, Ryan seemed to understand. "Are you keeping her secretly in that shack?" "Yeah, it's my secret base." "Can't you take her home?" "I have a Jungarian hamster at home. But it's cruel to leave her like this." "Okay, I'll take her in." "Really? Are you sure?" "My family loves animals. Besides, this one is so cute, they'll definitely allow it." "Thank you, Ryan. I'm counting on you." And so, Muffin became Muffin Thompson. Ryan took Muffin to the vet that same day. Fortunately, the injury wasn't serious, and the vet said it would heal in a few days. This incident brought Ryan and me closer together. I visited Ryan's house almost every day to check on Muffin. The time spent with Ryan and Muffin was incredibly fun and flew by quickly. John, you're not bad at studying. It's more like you overthink things and take too long to come to an answer. Do you get frustrated with me, Ryan? I don't get frustrated. I just see that you're really trying hard, but that must be tough during tests, right? Yeah, I run out of time. It's because you overthink. John, you're not dumb. You just lack decisiveness because you overthink. But how can I be sure it's the right answer? John, you're like someone at a crosswalk who looks right, then left, then right again, and left again, and still worries about cars coming, looking back and forth again. If you keep doing that, you'll never cross the street. Checking is important though. Yes, but if you only keep checking, you won't move forward. Just trust your first instinct and write it down on the answer sheet. What if it's wrong? Then you just have to get it right next time. Stop pondering and just write down the first answer that comes to your mind. After school, Ryan and I practiced solving practice questions. We timed ourselves to finish within a set period. Whether it was right or wrong was secondary. The main aim was to produce an answer. John, don't hesitate. You're not bad at studying. You just have a habit of worrying. If you organize your thoughts and eliminate your doubts, your grades will improve quickly. Ryan's advice was beyond his years. Really smart people are amazing. Thanks to Ryan, I gradually became able to solve problems within the time limit. Ryan and I had Muffin in common. The more time we spent together, the deeper our friendship grew. For the first time in my life, I felt like I had a best friend. But there was someone who didn't find our friendship amusing. It was Alex. Hey, Ryan, if you hang out with incompetent John, you'll become incompetent too. John isn't incompetent. Who knows, he might even score better than you on the next test. That's impossible, because this guy can't keep up with his studies and is always skipping supplemental classes. John, were you going to supplemental classes? Oh, well, sort of. I told my mom I didn't want to go, but she signed me up anyway. Suddenly, an incident happened. There were consecutive incidents in the neighborhood where cats were being injured. Most were stray cats, but some were beloved pets. After several such incidents, a big fuss arose when the cat of Emily, one of classmates, was found in a tragic state. The discovery was made near my secret base, and somehow, I was treated as the suspect. John, you were hanging around that old shack, right? What were you doing there, enjoying herding cats? No, I was just reading books. That's right, John wouldn't do such a thing. Ryan was on my side. Even when everyone looked at me with suspicion, only Ryan insisted on my innocence. I saw you playing with a cat there, chasing around a brown-striped one. Me too. You were chasing that brown-striped cat. Brown-striped cat. No. No. See, there are witnesses. Be honest, did you do something to Emily's cat? Not just her cat. Have you been hurting the neighborhood cats recently? No, it's not me. John, the brown-striped cat. Could it be that when Muffin hurt her leg that time? Ryan, no, I didn't hurt Muffin. Ryan, believe me. Don't look at me like that. The rumor spread quickly throughout the school, and I was called into the staff room. My parents were called, and even the police questioned me. There was no evidence that I had hurt any cats. Of course not, because I hadn't done it. But from that day on, Ryan stopped looking at me. I no longer belonged anywhere. A child like you, I can keep you at home. It's terrifying. My mother, who believed I was attending supplemental classes, couldn't forgive me for lying. The neighbors' eyes were harsh too. To my mother, I had become an unwanted child. I was sent to live with my paternal grandparents. The move was to a peaceful countryside where no one knew me. The entire area was laid back, which suited my slow pace. The study pace here was relaxed, and I, who was inherently good at studying, became an honor student. But living with my grandparents wasn't comfortable. They knew why I had been sent away. Even if I said I hadn't done it, they didn't believe me. Not even my parents believed me, so it was probably expected. I managed until high school, but I couldn't take it anymore beyond that. I wanted to go to college, but there was no money for it. I moved to New York and looked for a live-in job. No matter how good I was at studying, the only jobs available for a high school graduate like me were in manual labor. But I worked hard. As long as I kept my body moving and sweated it out, I didn't have to think about anything else. I just kept working hard, letting the days pass by. It had been about 5 years since I started working. Why don't you try for the promotion exam? Kevin, my boss, who was pleased with my work, suggested it to me. But I only had a high school diploma. Your educational background doesn't matter for the promotion exam. You work harder than anyone else here. Your work is meticulous and reliable. Sure, you might be a bit slower, but that's because you don't neglect the details. Even if you're slow, you always meet the deadlines. Everyone says they feel relieved when you're handling things. I was delighted. No one had ever valued me like this before. I have high hopes for you. You might even become a candidate for an executive position in the future. That's impossible. I couldn't be that presumptuous. Just being recognized like this was enough for me. Anyway, make sure you take the next exam, okay? Understood. People get motivated when they are expected to do well. I studied hard. Balancing work and study was tough, but the study methods Ryan taught me were very helpful. Even now, Ryan was helping me out. It's ironic, isn't it? After passing the promotion exam, I was promoted smoothly. While working as a construction manager, I became interested in design and obtained my architect's license. Further fueled by my hobby, I even challenged myself to become an interior coordinator. I, who always loved studying since childhood, was filled with the joy of encountering new knowledge. Enjoying studying led to promotions and salary increases. There was nothing more interesting than this. By the time I was 40, I had been promoted to branch manager. It was rare for someone who started with just a high school diploma to climb this high. In fact, I was the first. Kevin prioritized ability over educational background. He had always looked out for me in many ways. John, are you free tomorrow? In the evening, yes, no problem. Then, let's meet at Summit Steak at 7 p.m. Okay. Summit Steak is a high-end steak restaurant located in a prime area of Manhattan. I had been there for Kevin's chauffeuring but never for a meal. A place where just sitting down could easily cost a fortune was not somewhere I could afford to go. Being invited to such a place, what kind of discussion could possibly unfold? First things first, I needed to prepare a suit. There was no way I could go there in my work clothes. As soon as the workday ended, I dashed out of the office and headed to a suit store. And then, the next day, with a mix of anticipation, confusion, and anxiety, I entered the restaurant. Welcome, we've been expecting you. You're John, right? As expected of a high-end restaurant. There was no cheerful hey, welcome, greeting. As I was led into the room, to my surprise, the president, Mr. Anderson, was there. I had seen him in morning assembly videos, but this was the first time meeting him in person. Why was Mr. Anderson here? Is this your first time meeting Mr. Anderson, John? Yes, it's my first time. It's an honor to meet you. I'm John. You don't need to be so nervous. Please, Have a seat. Yes, thank you. It was impossible not to be nervous. I've heard about you from Kevin. You're very studious, and your work is both meticulous and accurate. I'm honored. Actually, we're planning to establish a new development planning division within one of our group subsidiaries. I'd like you, John, to take on the role of division head. What? Time seemed to stop at this sudden proposal. John, this is a big opportunity. You might not get a chance like this again. Don't just stand there. Give a proper response. Yay, yes. What do you say, John? Would you be willing to take on the role? But Mr. Anderson, I only have a high school diploma, and I don't have the kind of career background that everyone else has. Can someone like me really handle being a division head? You must have gone through a lot to get here, right? I can tell by looking at your hands. They're the hands of a hard worker. I myself worked my way up from the field. I believe I have an eye for seeing how people approach their work. Mr. Anderson's words had a transformative impact on my life, filled with frustration until now. I will do my utmost. Thank you for this opportunity. Both Mr. Anderson and Kevin had truly seen me for who I was. I was determined to repay their kindness with good work. All right, that settles it. No more serious talk, let's drink. The rest of the evening felt like a dream. I was deeply moved by Mr. Anderson's stories of his struggles. I learned a lot about what it means to be a leader. Having drunk a bit too much, I excused myself to the restroom. What a wonderful feeling. Such good wine. Finally, the spotlight seemed to be on my life. Lost in my euphoric thoughts, I was suddenly approached. Hey, isn't that John? I turned around, and there was someone I never wanted to remember again. Could it be Alex? It had been since elementary school graduation, over 30 years since we last met. Yet, I instantly recalled the nightmares of my childhood. It is you, John. Long time no see. What are you doing here? Just having dinner. Dinner? You here? How can someone incompetent like you afford a place like this? Your face and hands are all dirty. What? Are you doing manual labor? That suit doesn't suit you at all. Did you get the wrong place or something? Classic John. Always slow and incompetent. Just get out of here. No, I'm not mistaken. I'm having dinner here. Stop it, will you? Today, we're celebrating my promotion to president. In the next personnel change, I'll become the president. It's different for someone like you who does physical labor. It may bring bad luck. Could you please leave? President, that's impressive. Which company's president are you becoming? A subsidiary of Pinecrest Construction. Pinecrest Construction. You remember Ryan's company, right? Ryan. His father was the president of Pinecrest Construction. So, Alex must have ingratiated himself with Ryan and made it this far. Is that why he saw me as an obstacle? Perhaps the whole cat incident was Alex's doing. Don't speak so casually to the next president of the Great Pinecrest Group, you incompetent John. The door opened and Kevin appeared. John, who is this person? He's Alex, a classmate from my elementary school days. He's about to become the president of a subsidiary of Pinecrest Construction. Mr. Anderson's displeased face was visible beyond the door. I recognized that expression as the one Mr. Anderson had when he was furious about an employee's misconduct. This was bad. Alex, unfortunately, that position is no longer available to you. What? What are you talking about? That's my line, Alex. I heard what you were saying. Your voice was quite loud, so it naturally reached my ears. John, who are these people? Alex hadn't changed. He was still arrogant in front of anyone. I have no intention of entrusting my company to someone who looks down on others and uses foul language. Your promotion is cancelled. What? Alex, this is Mr. Anderson of Pinecrest Holdings. Huh? The company I work for is part of the Pinecrest Holdings Group, and Ryan's father's company, Pinecrest Construction, is also a member of the group. The subsidiary Alex was about to become president of was even further down the hierarchy. In terms of position, I was above him. Why is someone as incompetent as you above me? Watch your mouth. John has worked harder than anyone to get here. There's no way someone as arrogant and conceited as you should be calling him incompetent. You should be ashamed. What did you say, you old fool? Alex, who spewed insults and tried to lunge at Mr. Anderson, was stopped by colleagues who heard the commotion. Ryan was among them, but I pretended not to notice. Alex's misconduct became known throughout the group, and he was transferred to a subcontractor of a subsidiary. It seems Ryan also faced demotion for bearing some responsibility. Thanks to Ryan, I became more efficient at handling tasks. I'm deeply grateful for that, but I cannot forget the coldness of him doubting me and turning away. However, it's true that their actions taught me pain and made me kinder. There's a saying about learning from negative examples. I'll never forget the emotional scars I received that day, but I'll strive to be kind, sincere, and genuinely engage with everyone. That's the least I can do as a leader. I'll nurture myself, my team, and grow the company into something even more essential to society, repaying those who believed in me and pulled me up. Tell me, Kevin, how much do you make a year? My annual income is $10,000. Only $10,000. It's unbelievable to earn only $10,000 these days. Guess it can't be helped since you're a middle school dropout. I couldn't stand a contemptuous attitude of this jerk at the reunion. However, just then, a man appeared, leading to a surprising conclusion. My name is Kevin, and I don't have a mother. When I was in the 3rd grade, she divorced my father and left home. I haven't seen her since. After my mother left, it has always been just my father and me. My father used to run a small printing shop. It seemed to be doing well when my mother first joined our family, but with the advent of digitalization, the demand for printing decreased drastically, and the business quickly declined. My mother suggested selling the print shop and starting over, but my father refused to agree. That led to their divorce. I still remember the last words my mother said to me before she left. Hey Kevin, why don't you come and live with me? No, I want to stay with Dad. It wasn't that my mother abandoned me. I chose to abandon her. Because I loved my father so much. He was a sincere and earnest man. I think he wasn't cut out for running a printing business due to his clumsy way of life. But I loved how he worked silently, without a single complaint. He would meticulously complete even the smallest orders, with little profit. There were people who defaulted on their printing payments, but even then, he would say, they must be really strapped for cash. It's fine as long as they pay when they can afford it, without getting angry. I think my mother grew tired of such a good-natured father. One day, I asked my dad a question. Dad, isn't it bad when people don't pay for their printing? Why don't you report them to the police? Listen, Kevin, there's no one who is inherently bad. Everyone has their circumstances, and they feel sorry in their hearts. Really, if you start doubting people, it's the end. Isn't life all about valuing the connections with others? Don't forget that. The print shop's business became increasingly difficult, to the point where we couldn't afford employees, and in the end, it was just my father trying to keep it afloat. Sometimes when we got a big order, I, still a grade schooler, would help out all night. Going to school after an all-nighter, my classmates would laugh at me. I hadn't realized there was ink on my face. When I tried to wipe it off in a hurry, it smeared all over, and they laughed even harder. However, there was one girl who wiped the ink off with her wet handkerchief. Thanks, but now your handkerchief is dirty. It's fine. It's impressive that you were helping out with work all night. I'll wash this handkerchief and return it to you." The next day, I took the washed handkerchief to school, but that girl had moved away. I still cherish that handkerchief. When things get tough, I look at it and muster my strength. In middle school, the harassment from my classmates intensified. Since my father's print shop was on the brink of bankruptcy, I couldn't afford proper clothes or school supplies. My school uniform and textbooks were all hand-me-downs from my cousin, and they were in tatters. Harry was the one who led the harassment against me. Ever since elementary school, he has been a coward who looked down on me and mocked me. Kevin's French dictionary is all tattered. I need to blow my nose. I'll take a page. He suddenly tore a page from my dictionary and blew his nose with it. Then, finding it amusing, the other classmates started tearing pages too, and in the end my dictionary was thrown in the trash can. It was an important dictionary to me since I loved French, so I got angry and lashed out at Harry. Harry, being cowardly and weak in fights, quickly sought help from his friends. They ganged up on me and pinned me to the floor. While grinning, Harry placed his foot on my stomach and spat in my face, saying, "Don't you ever defy me again, you poor loser." Seeing me return home in tears, my father said nothing. He just told me, "Kevin, in any kind of world, there's always at least one ally. Don't forget that. There's no one on my side. No way there is. There's one, yourself. No matter how tough it gets, you're always your own ally. Even if the whole world is against me, I have one ally myself. As long as I don't forget that, I can keep going." That night, I picked up a French dictionary discarded in a corner of the printing shop. It was a dictionary discarded due to a printing error. From the next day, I started studying French with that dictionary. My French grades improved quickly, and during classes, the teacher praised my pronunciation. Then, Harry mocked me. It's pointless for a poor guy who's going to drop out of middle school to speak French, planning to go work in France or something, as if any company would hire someone like you. You'll just end up working at your dad's failing print shop. The harassment from my classmates continued until I graduated from middle school. And after graduation, I ended up working at my father's factory, just as they said. It wasn't that no one would hire me. I wanted to work with my father. "Kevin, don't work at my factory. At least finish high school." My dad advised me, encouraging me to continue my education, but I wanted to revive the print shop. I needed to start working on site as soon as possible for that. So I worked hard at the nearly failing print shop. I managed the printing jobs differently from how my father had done. Then, one day, years later, I received a notice about an elementary school reunion. I had no intention of attending, but there was one person I wanted to meet. She was the girl who wiped my face with her handkerchief that day in elementary school when I came to school with ink on my face after helping my dad all night. She had transferred away, but I washed her handkerchief carefully and have cherished it ever since. I want to return the handkerchief to her and thank her for that time. For that reason alone, I attended the reunion. But the girl I was looking for wasn't there. Not wanting to talk to the classmates who had made fun of me, I was about to leave when Harry, the bully, blocked my path. "Hey, if it isn't Kevin, showing your face at the reunion, as dumb as ever." Noticing me, my classmates gathered around and started to harass me like before. "Good for you, getting a job right after middle school. You even got to wear a proper suit. This looks like a second-hand suit, doesn't it? Smells a bit too." As I tried to leave, ignoring them, Harry grabbed my shoulder to stop me. "Don't get so worked up. Hey, I work in the PR department of a major electronics manufacturer. Should I place an order with your print shop?" I stayed silent, knowing it was just to tease me. Then he said, "If you want work, just ask. We're classmates, after all." Go on and beg. I'll give you a job." The classmates, finding it amusing, clapped their hands and chanted loudly, "Beg, beg, beg." The reunion seemed like nothing more than a gathering to harass me. But the Kevin of elementary school and the Kevin of today are different. I stood tall and replied to Harry, "Thanks, but I don't do printing work anymore." Sorry. Did your print shop already go under?" At Harry's words, the classmates burst into laughter. And that's when it happened. "Hey everyone, we're meeting after 10 years, so let's stop this mean harassment." I turned around and was surprised. There she was, the girl who had been kind to me back then. Her name was Sophia. She was popular in our elementary school, but now as an adult, she had become even more attractive. Harry, reprimanded by Sophia, quickly changed his attitude, trying to impress her. "It's not harassment. We're all just sharing our salaries since we all work at good companies," he explained, sounding triumphant. "I work for a major electronics manufacturer, so my annual income is $100,000. What's yours, Kevin?" Not wanting to answer his silly question, I stayed silent until he insisted, "Come on, Kevin. How much do you make a year?" Reluctantly, I answered, "My income is $10,000. Harry cut me off, dramatically feigning shock. "Only $10,000. It's unbelievable to earn only $10,000 these days." "Well, I guess it's expected for a middle school dropout. I can lend you some money if you need it." Seeing my trolled face, Sophia intervened. "Salary doesn't matter. We're here for a reunion, so let's enjoy ourselves." Just then, a man in a uniform and cap entered the room and called my name. "Kevin, is the President Kevin here?" All my classmates turned to look at the man. He was my personal chauffeur. When he found me, he said, "President Harrison, please return to the headquarters immediately. A delegation from New York has arrived." "Understood. Let's go." Harry, dumbfounded, confronted my chauffeur. "Kevin is a president, a delegation from New York. Stop joking. A middle school dropout making only $10,000 a year. Excuse me, but President Harrison's annual income is not $10,000, but $10 million. The chauffeur corrected. "Wait, $10 million. It easily surpasses $10 million a year." As I got into the luxury car waiting outside, Harry's screams could be heard from the building's windows. "I can't believe it. That's a luxury Mercedes." I then headed back to the headquarters. I later heard that Harry collapsed on the spot after seeing the luxury Mercedes. He was shocked to find out through his cell phone that my printing company had expanded overseas with specialized printing technology. At the after-party, he drank excessively and made a scene, causing his classmates to lose patience with him. I thought it was his just desserts, but I didn't scorn him. I felt pity for such a pitiable person. Later, I heard that Harry was fired from the major electronics manufacturer. The reasons were unclear, but probably due to some underhanded tactics he employed. My proficiency in French allowed me to gather foreign ID information diligently, which I used to develop a unique printing technology. It quickly became popular, attracting numerous orders from abroad. Within half a year, I turned around the almost bankrupt print shop, and now we even have a separate headquarters building apart from the factory. I'm the president, but the chairman is my father. He's the real hero for keeping the print shop going. A few days later, I met Sophia again and was able to return the cherished handkerchief. "Thank you for keeping it so carefully all this time. This handkerchief supported me. My dad said we always have one ally in this world ourselves, but I had another ally, this handkerchief." Sophia smiled happily and made a proposal. "Actually, I also came from a poor background and dropped out of high school, but I worked hard and started my own company. Would you like to collaborate on developing a new product?" Sophia had started a home renovation company. She wondered if my company's printing technology could be used on a new wallpaper material she had developed. Sure, I'll help. Let's explore new possibilities together. Thank you, let's work hard together. Sophia and I, having hit it off well, exchanged ideas daily, and after much trial and error, finally completed a new kind of wallpaper. Thus, our joint venture progressed smoothly, and Sophia and I began dating in our personal lives as well. Our catchphrase was always the same. Being poor is really the secret to success, isn't it? It's because we're poor that we can strive so hard. I cherish the connection I have with Sophia and plan to continue doing so. Probably, we'll be married in a year. Life is all about valuing connections with others, isn't it? Remembering my father's words, I vowed to keep striving forward. I've always been a quiet person by nature, raised by parents who taught me to be kind to others. As a result, I rarely got angry with people and sometimes even put myself at a disadvantage. Nevertheless, I lived by the principle of doing things for the sake of others. My friends would sometimes scold me, saying you should express your emotions more, but I loved seeing people smile and always prioritized others over myself. After graduating from college, I joined a reasonably large advertising agency. Although I was introverted, I thought a sales position might make me more outgoing. I was genuinely interested in sales, so I asked to be assigned to the sales department. For the first 2 to 3 years, I was stationed at a branch office, a little distance from the headquarters. My boss at the time, the branch manager named James, was very caring. He didn't get angry at subordinates' mistakes. Instead, he emphasized learning from them. Whenever I made a mistake, he would help me think it through and encourage me, making my job feel fulfilling. James was greatly respected not just by the staff but also by the CEO and clients. Under his leadership, I believe the company's sales were quite good. However, in my second year, James was transferred to the headquarters and George took over as my new boss. George was from the headquarters, and frankly, I had never heard anything positive about him. He was known for being lazy, kind only to young women, and arrogant towards married employees, those with children, and younger male staff. Many had left because of him. He was always obsequious to the CEO and those who benefited him. Rumors were that, despite his incompetence, he was good at ingratiating himself. When it was announced that such an infamous person like George would come to our branch, some female staff members even said I'd quit if he came. Faced with his imminent arrival, I was filled with anxiety about what lay ahead. As usual, I arrived at work 15 minutes before the start of my shift. Since joining the company, I had made it a routine to clean the office in the morning. That day, as I opened the door to start cleaning, I was surprised to find someone already there. Nevertheless, I greeted them with a good morning. In response, a loud voice said, "Good morning. Who are you?" I'm Ethan. I stammered. "I'm George from the headquarters. Nice to meet you. Are you always the first one here?" "Yes. Since I joined, I've always come in early to clean before everyone else." I see," George said and then started walking around the room. I continued cleaning without much concern. Soon, other employees began arriving, each greeting George, until it was time for our first meeting of the day. George opened the meeting by saying, "I'm George from the headquarters. Let's make sure sales don't drop under my watch. I'll be strict with employees whose sales are poor." Hearing this, I felt a jolt of anxiety. Despite being in my second year, my performance was so poor that even new employees were outperforming me. I wonder if I'm not suited for sales, I thought, feeling troubled by George's words. Then George ordered, "Those whose names I call, come to the front." As expected, my name was among them. For the next 30 minutes, he lectured each of us standing at the front. When it was my turn, George pointed at the sales performance board and said, I see you clean every morning. It would be great if that made you good at your job. Before cleaning, why don't you think about how to improve your sales?" he said in a mocking tone. All I could muster was a quiet yes in response. As I thought about whether I could handle such a situation, I tried to shift my focus and went to write down my day's fieldwork schedule. George then commented loudly enough for everyone to hear, "Oh, your sales aren't great, but you're diligent about your fieldwork. Impressive." Feeling embarrassed, I answered in a small voice, "I'm heading out," and left the room. Passing by the break room, I overheard colleagues, Sophia and Lily, talking while preparing tea. I heard George always find someone to bully. I bet he's already picked someone from the group he called out earlier. Yeah, like Ethan maybe. He's quite shy. Hearing this, I was rooted to the spot, unable to move. What if it's really me? I'm the only one in my second year among those he called out today. These thoughts raced through my mind, leaving me frozen in place. Then Sophia, coming out of the break room, noticed me. "Oh, Ethan, were you here? Sorry, did you overhear us?" she asked, looking flustered. "No, it's okay. It's true my performance isn't great, but we see how hard you're working, Ethan. Customers even say, Ethan is a thoughtful and good salesman. So, keep it up. We're all supporting you," Lily said, offering me a piece of candy. Seeing them leave, I thought to myself, even if I become George's new target, it shouldn't matter if I improve my performance. Everyone has their highs and lows. I won't let this get me down. I'll make great proposals for my clients. With renewed determination, I headed out for my sales appointments. After that, I worked tirelessly to improve my performance. My sales gradually improved, but they were still far behind my peers. George would scold me daily and even blame me for his own mistakes, saying, "It's because of Ethan's poor performance that my job is affected." Additionally, when a female employee asked to leave early because her child was sick, George made her cry by saying, "This is why I have issues with employees who have children. Well, the company will run without you. All right, go home and take care of your child." On the other hand, when a young female new employee seemed unwell, he said, "I'd be sad to send you home because you bring so much brightness, but you're an important staff member. Go home and come back when you're feeling better." She left, looking guilty. From then on, even when coming to work, she seemed to worry about other staff's sigh and gradually lost her energy. Day by day, the atmosphere in the office worsened, and eventually, several employees resigned. Yet George insisted it wasn't his fault, saying, "They just didn't have the guts." He bad-mouthed them in front of everyone and refused to change his ways. One day, President John, who was CEO, came to the branch with a man in his 50s named Steve. "This is Steve, who will be joining us from today. George, I'm entrusting you with his training. You know, he's a valuable asset for us," he said. Steve looked a bit chubby, with thinning hair and a slightly stooped posture. He seemed somewhat down on his luck. In front of President John, George was in high spirits, saying, "Leave it to me, President John. I'll turn him into a top-notch salesman in no time." "Good, George. Sales at this branch have been a bit down lately, so I'm counting on you," President John said, leaving George looking tense. After President John left, George's attitude changed drastically. "Hey, Ethan, come here," he yelled, and I rushed to him. "Ethan, you're going to be his trainer." "But just now, President John said you would be the trainer," I responded in surprise. "What, you trying to give me orders? I'm swamped with other work. Besides, how can this old guy be of any use?" George said, kicking a chair over. His yelling and actions frightened some of the female staff, and as I stood there hesitantly, Steve picked up the chair and spoke gently. "Hi, I'm Steve. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm excited to work with you all." Saying that, he greeted everyone cheerfully. "This is something for you. I hope you guys like it," he said, handing out cream puffs from a popular store to everyone, lightening the mood. Steve then sat next to me and said sincerely, Thank you, Ethan, for taking on the role of training me. No problem, Steve. Sorry that you had to see the office like this on your first day. Well, frankly, I'm not doing well in sales lately. So that makes George kind of frustrated, I said. No, I can tell you're doing your best just by looking at your desk. Let's work hard together, Steve replied, looking at the piles of company documents and sales materials on my desk. Seeing all this shows you're really thinking about your clients. I may not be one to say, but you're a good salesman, Ethan, he said with a kind smile, reigniting the spark of hope in me. I spent the day giving Steve the tour of the office and explaining the work. We had lunch together at a nearby diner. If you don't mind me asking, why did you decide to change your job now? I asked. My previous company went bankrupt, and when I saw this company was hiring, I applied. I wondered a bit if they were even hiring for mid-career positions. I see. Thank you for sharing. I'll do my best to help you get accustomed to the work quickly. It's kind of you, Ethan. I'm glad to have you as my trainer. Steve's words made me happy. Afterward, I taught Steve as much as I could about sales and even how to make phone calls. Balancing my own sales responsibilities with training him wasn't easy. Still, I didn't want Steve to feel uncomfortable, so I spent as much time as possible with him, providing support. A week later, George called Steve and me. You know what? I've got a great idea. A bad feeling washed over me as he continued. Ethan and Steve, if you don't raise $100K in sales by this time next year, you're both fired. How about that for a challenge? I got speechless at this absurd demand. What? That's unreasonable, I managed to say. George, relentless, added, after all, Ethan, your performance hasn't improved, right? You must be feeling your limits. And as for Steve, at his age and starting anew, he must be useless. I'm telling you, I'll give you 1 year. I'm generous, don't you think? Huh? He said loudly. I stood there, unable to respond, when Steve surprisingly said, understood. 100K, right? Steve, what are you saying? Raising 100K in sales is impossible, I said in a panic. Ethan, we can do it if we work together, Steve said confidently. Hearing our conversation, George laughed loudly and left, saying, good luck, I'll be looking forward to it. Other employees then came up to us. Are you guys okay? If there's anything we can help you guys with, just let us know. We couldn't say anything because we were afraid of George, but we're on your side. I felt tears welling up. Ethan, it's too early to cry. Let's shed tears of joy this time next year, Steve said, gripping my hand firmly. Inspired by Steve's firm handshake, I felt a switch flip inside me, and from the next day, we both focused on developing new business. I hustled to set up appointments with companies I had identified and pitched relentlessly. While I struggled to secure orders, Steve, surprisingly, was closing contracts one after another. He said this was his first time in sales. How is he securing so many contracts? Curious, I joined Steve on several sales visits. There, I saw him quickly identifying issues and improvement areas, explaining the benefits of our proposals clearly and persuasively, even to initially hesitant clients. He effortlessly won over difficult clients, warming up the atmosphere by the end of the meetings. Amazed, I asked, I thought you said this was your first time in sales. How do you so easily win over clients? Let me think. Steve pondered, then replied with a smile. Well, I just do what you do, think carefully about the client and listen attentively. I believed I had been considering the client's needs and my proposals. But if they said no, I would sometimes push hard, but I wasn't fully listening to the clients or understanding their issues almost all time. In my haste and lack of calm, I realized. Steve reassured me with a pat on the back. I'm sure you definitely can achieve your goal, Ethan. Encouraged by Steve, I started to revise my approach, using his techniques and thinking objectively from the client's perspective. Miraculously, like a changed person, I began securing contracts rapidly, and my performance improved significantly. Steve and I became top performers within 6 months. A year after the challenge, Steve and I each achieved over $100K in sales. President John commended us in person. Meanwhile, George, who hadn't improved his performance or attitude, was scolded by President John. "I've heard the rumors, but it seems you were the most incompetent. And you, George, I tasked you with training Steve, but you left it all to Ethan. What were you doing?" he added. "You even said they'd be fired if they didn't meet the target to raise $100K in sales. With what authority could you say that? You're the one who's fired." Indeed, George was fired. Later, Steve revealed his true story. Steve originally worked in sales for 30 years before taking early retirement at 50. After retiring, he worked as a consultant in his own business. However, he was approached by President John, an acquaintance and the CEO, who asked for his help in turning around the branch. "It's okay even if it's just for a year. Could you join as a salesperson?" President John pleaded, and Steve agreed. He was also tasked with monitoring the actions of George, whose behavior had become problematic at headquarters. Steve later apologized, saying, "I lied about the company going bankrupt, about being hired mid-career, and about being new to sales. I feel terrible about it. I'm truly sorry." I reassured him, "Please don't worry about it. Thanks to you, my performance improved, and I rediscovered the joy and importance of sales. I'm truly grateful to you." After a year, Steve truly left the workplace and now serves as a consultant for both the headquarters and the branch. He frequently visits the offices, bringing delicious snacks and lending an ear to the employees' concerns, earning their trust and reliance. Since then, I've maintained top sales performance and was even offered a transfer to headquarters, but I chose to stay at the branch with the colleagues who helped me during tough times. Now, I'm in charge of training new employees. I strive to ensure they enjoy their work, never forgetting the basics. Steve and I have become drinking buddies, and though we are joked about being friends with a big age gap, he is my savior and my friend. I'll cherish this bond, committed to advancing in my work.